Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hey, welcome to Cannabis Common Sense. We have a great show for you tonight. We're happy to say that Elvie Masika, one of the 4 people who receives legal medical marijuana from the federal government, is here on the show as our guest tonight. Casper Leach is standing by to be the joint host. And John Cornett and Jansu are here with friends in a new incarnation of a band called Spiral. So stay tuned. We have a video that explains the endocannabinoid system from the University of Kansas at Wichita, a little clip with Willie Nelson, and more. We'll bring that on shortly after we bring on our infamous Dancing Cannabis Leaves.
I feel the force.
All right, let me introduce Spiral.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
This is a song I wrote for the hemp stock, actually. And it's called They Got the Guns and We Got the Numbers.
Nice.
They got the guns, we got the numbers. They got the guns, we got the numbers. No matter how hard they try, they can't put us under. Divide and conquer, that's the name of the game. Divide and conquer, that's the name of the game. They can try to take us down, occupy is our name. They got the guns, we got the numbers. They got the guns, we got the numbers. No matter how hard they try, can't put us under. Truth is our weapon, love is our soul. Truth is our weapon, love is our soul. Let's chase them to their bunkers, let's lock the doors. Truth is our weapon, love is our soul. Our weapon, love is our sword. Love is our sword. Is our weapon, love is our sword. Matter how hard they try, they can't put us down. Is our weapon. got the guns, we've got the numbers. They got the guns, we got the numbers.
All right. All right. Spiral. Happy to spin that one here. They'll be back at the end of the show to join us. We got Casper Leach, and welcome to the show, Elvie.
Hi, Paul. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. For our viewers out there who you haven't been on the show in a while, but you have been getting legal medical marijuana from the federal government for more than 20 years now.
Yeah, going on 25 pretty soon.
25
Yes.
pretty soon. And so you've been using it to treat your glaucoma.
That's right.
You wanted to give our audience kind of a description of how you first started, got on what used to be called, still is, I guess, the Compassionate Use Program.
Yes, it seems that a man called Robert Randall, who also had glaucoma, discovered that the government knew that marijuana reduces intraocular pressures, and that they'd known it since 1971. He was working with it around the mid-70s. He also found out they had a farm in Mississippi that we support without tax dollars to grow marijuana, except he couldn't figure out who they were growing it for. So he decided he should be getting it, and he fought the federal government and sued them and won, and became the first man to enter this very special club. Someone else named Irving Rosenfeld did it in '82, and I did it in 1988. What happened to me was a trial for a few little plants.
Well, this is Florida.
In Florida. I just harvested on Monday and I got arrested on Friday, okay? I just felt bad for this little bud growing at the bottom and didn't want to pull it out and maybe get bigger. So there was nothing they got, less than 2 ounces anyway. But anyhow, if that. So anyhow, that ended up being a trial, and at that trial we were able to show that we had given my better eye to their science, that we had tried everything they had for glaucoma, and that absolutely nothing but nothing except marijuana really controlled my glaucoma. And we were able to prove that in court. Unfortunately, by then those last 10 years had robbed me of my work. Oh yeah, and there was a lady with a powder nose telling us to just say no. So I wasn't looking for work because I knew all I'd get is free room and board at a place I didn't want to go to. So at this point, Robert Randall testified for me. My doctor came in with lots of records, and the judge decided that I would have to be crazy not to use marijuana, knowing what I knew then, which is next to nothing compared to what I know now.
Right. And so you have been on the program for almost 25 years, but tell us about the quality of this federal medical marijuana.
Okay, well, first of all, I started out with just off the streets and whatever else I could get my hands on. So when I found out that the government was giving me marijuana, I was thrilled. I didn't worry about the stains and the seeds and stamps or anything else. I was just glad to get it.
Right.
And because at that time I actually had more THC, it actually worked for me for about 12 years very well, along with another eye drop, one eye drop. I go through eye drops that usually last me 1 or 2 or 3 years at the most, but after all I develop a tolerance and I can't use them. Now marijuana is the same thing. I still have to use more as time goes on. The difference is it's non-toxic, and I could triple it and triple it and it'll never hurt me. For the drops I could never do that with.
Right.
But anyway, the quality after the Bush administration came in got so horrible. By then I figured that I better be living in the Northwest, and I did move first to California and then out here to Oregon. But because they were sending me stuff that was so terrible that we sent it back, and they wouldn't take it. They sent it right back to us. I still have a couple of those cans buried somewhere just for show when it becomes legal. That's when I want to sell them. That's when I will make money. You see, those cans are really interesting. But at any rate, they started sending me bad stuff, but I figured a way to use some of their marijuana with Northwest medicine, and I did fine. I hardly even needed drops, and when I did, it's always been just 1 drop, not 5 or 6 like other patients have to use. And this year, everything went to hell. I have maintained this eye for 37 years on marijuana. 37 years. That's quite a record.
Yes, it is.
But the last half year, the combination of that horrible medical marijuana I got from the government and the fact that my state, I cannot believe that my beautiful state of Oregon has decided that the patients should bend over. You need a spanking. Because they
more than doubled the rate
Yes.
to renew your card. And you live on just $700 a month, right?
There was no way I could come up with $150 for the state of Oregon every year. I do have a prescription. I shouldn't need a card, but that's not the point. If it hurt me, it hurt others. For me, it was so detrimental because I decided I'd leave my grower go because he can only grow for 4 people. So it wouldn't be fair for me to haul them. I mean, I'm free. I got a prescription. You can't do nothing to me for smoking.
Yeah, there's only 4 people left that get marijuana from the federal government, right?
We had to prove to FDA, DEA, and NIDA with reliable records from doctors that they deem reliable, right? With lots of records that marijuana was the most reliable, the most efficient, and the safest part of our treatment. You couldn't have made those claims with any of your other pharmaceuticals, and in spite of the obstacles, we all were able to prove all of those things because, as Judge Young said, about 3 weeks after my trial, after he'd been listening to people all over the country, that marijuana in its natural form was one of the most benign substances known to humanity. He also said he had studied 5,000 years of written history and had no evidence to even think that this could ever kill somebody. He said you would die faster from eating 10 raw potatoes as they were toxic and a lot of the foods we eat today.
Now, didn't you also have to do your own study on your own health, of you and Herb and a couple of the other patients, to see how well this treatment was doing because the government wasn't interested enough to check it out themselves?
And the government gets a report from each of our doctors every year, so they have plenty of information to say how well it works, but since it never gets published, we were very fortunately that some people financed it, and Dr. Ethan Russo went ahead and examined legal smokers who had been on smoking for over 20, and at that time, well over 20 years. Now it's over 30 for most of us. And he found that we were perfectly normal. As a matter of fact, I hardly ever cough when I smoke because I use so much of it that my lungs are always clear. You've got to remember that it's a lie when they tell you that 1 joint is equal to 20 cigarettes. I would be dead if I had a carton of cigarettes a day, and I was smoking 10 joints.
And that's how much they give you.
Yeah,
is 10 joints a
day.
They give you 6 pounds of marijuana per year.
But because of the fluctuations in their quality, what I've decided to do and have been doing successfully for the last 6 years till this year was combine the Oregon medicine and the government. Stretch that for, but even that, when it gets down to 2%, it's nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
And the marijuana they ship you is sometimes a decade or more old, right?
This was 11 years old, what they sent me this year that caused all these problems.
And as well as I know you, you smoke more than 6 pounds a year.
Probably did. Yeah,
So,
probably did.
When they raised the price and you came off the program, that caused you an enormous...
Oh no, immediately, like in just this year, I lost a part of a small part, but nevertheless a part of my optic nerve. And that really panicked my doctor, who, like you said, had been fighting to keep my sight with me for too many years. And so he flew me on his own dime to Florida to have some surgery. It was supposed to be a minor surgery for glaucoma. Oh yeah, well, it developed into 2 retina surgeries. So I am sorry for you, the Means and Ways Committee. I'm sorry, Mr. Buckley. I know you're a supporter of ours, but I don't understand why you feel that marijuana patients have to be a target for everyone who needs money, whether they're the thieves, the police needs a prison industry, you need more money for programs that we were helping pay because we already had a surplus. You also were told that if you needed more money, you should add some more conditions, like stress for the military and things like that. But no, you rather just raise the rules so that most of us cannot follow them when we're in my position. And for me, consequently, this was devastating because it meant that for a whole month I was totally blind. Since remember, we got rid of my better eye in 10 years looking for an answer that wasn't marijuana. So this time I was blind in both eyes. That was the most scary thing I have ever lived through. You all know I'm fearless, but that did scare me. And I come back here And you know, nobody's gonna go back to these rates to go back, and we have to insist as citizens that we roll back those prices. It isn't fair to take advantage of sick people. We can't call the police on you. I don't know what we're gonna do, but you need to roll back those prices. For me, the penalty was too high, and no matter how much money you get out of me for the rest of my life, it'll not be enough to pay for the surgeries and the drops and the medicines that I was made to take. Me, who doesn't even have an aspirin in my house, right now has a bottle of Tylenol, because during the surgeries there were 2 times when I had to take something and I took 1 each time. That's it.
So,
I have always relied on marijuana to take care of all my pain, and I have had injuries that I use it for. Without marijuana, I would be on OxyContin or Dilatos, and all of this would be on your bill, by the way.
yeah. Elvie, we are going to run a little film clip and come back and talk about Measure 80 a bit too.
Yes, please.
So stay tuned as we bring on this video. Here it is. I'm going to fix your microphone.
I want to tell you all a little bit about a plant I know that can save the world. It grows long and tall and has flowers that can make your mind swirl. It's a funky plant with a fiber that is resistant to rain and mold. It's the strongest plant fiber known to man, the best rope you'll ever hold. Well, the pioneers covered up the wagon trains with a canvas made of hemp. And Washington and Jefferson grew it on their farms and said to make the most of it. The first stars and stripes were sewn on hemp, the first Constitution too. It's used around the world for food, fiber, oil, medicine, and fuel. But if we press its seeds, we won't have no need for any other oil. We can make paints and inks, we'll run our car, we'll go back next season, it'll fix the soil. The most nutritious seed we can put in our mouth with omega-6 and 3. We can feed the world with the tree of life and live sustainably. But if we cut down all the trees, we won't have nowhere to breathe. Grow fields of hemp instead. We can make our paper, build a house from it. It's the goddess plant growing wild and free, living the way that we ought to be. Gonna leave my children a better world than my ancestors left me. Whoa, whoa. La, 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 la. Whoa, whoa. Well, the flowers of the female hemp plant make the best medicines on earth. Helps cancer and AIDS patients eat their food. Helps those with depression overcome the blues. Glaucoma, epilepsy, nausea, insomnia, stress, neurosis, psychosis, pain, PMS. All the studies have been done and all the doctors agree that they can't make money off this plant, you see, because it's free. It grows from a seed, wild and free, like we ought to be. You know, the future is growing out our own backyards. But if we cut down all the trees, we won't have nowhere to breathe. We grow fields of hemp instead. Make our paper, build a house from it. It's a goddess plant growing wild and free, living the way that we ought to be. Gonna leave my children a better world than my ancestors left me. La 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 la. So in this modern day and age, when we seem to lack spirituality, this one single plant can bring us back almost 10,000 years in history. To the Shiva, Puranas, the Jesus, the Christ, to the Buddha, the pagans, the goddess, the light. To commune with all the animals, commune with all the trees. To realize the goddess seekers inside me. Is the earth is a mother, we gotta take care of the earth. The earth is the mother that gives life birth. And we can heal all our relations with a single green plant. We can start right now. But if we cut down all the trees, we won't have nowhere to breathe. Grow fields of hemp instead. We can make our paper, build a house from it. It's the goddess plant growing wild and free, living the way that we ought to be. Gonna leave my children a better world than my ancestors left me.
So that was Human, the Human Revolution, and his song Tree of Life. It's a great song. I'm going to be down with Human and Willie Nelson's son Lucas Nelson and their band Promise of the Real. They're going to be coming through town here at the end of October. So down in Ashland on October 27th, they'll be playing here at the Roseland Theater with Lucas Nelson and Promise of the Real on Halloween. So look forward to that. So we are taking your phone calls. If you have questions for us tonight, you can call us at 503-288-4442. That's 503-288-4442. Now we're right in the middle of our campaign to legalize marijuana and hemp. And we're coming up for a vote in just, 25 more days. And so we have until next Tuesday to register to vote. So if you want to register and vote in the upcoming election here in Oregon, you have to register by October 16th. And you can check your registration and register to vote online at OregonVotes.org. That's OregonVotes.org. So you just go there. You should check your registration. If you haven't voted in the past 2 years, or you haven't received a ballot in the mail, or if you've moved since you last voted, you should go and re-register. And the best way to do it now is at OregonVotes.org. And you can do it right at that website. We urge you to get out there and get your family and friends to register and vote. You don't have to vote on everything. You can vote just for the things you want to, but we urge you to vote yes on Oregon's ballot measure 80. And so that's what our number is, Oregon's ballot measure 80. And you're supporting that, aren't you, Elvie?
Most certainly. Do you mind if I go quickly through a little history of marijuana prohibition?
Please
just
do.
Quick. Okay. It really blows my mind to understand that this war started 100 years ago. Hearst started their false propaganda, the lies, renamed the plant hemp, renamed the plant cannabis, and called it marijuana. Because he lost a lot of timber to the Mexicans, he wasn't too happy with them. But California started the law in 1913. Several states followed quickly, and before you knew it, the conglomerate of the industrial complex had managed to pass a bill called the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937. It was proven unconstitutional by 1969, and Nixon knew he didn't have much time to keep this law going, so he gathered his conservative friends to give him advice and find nasty things to say about this plant, but they found the opposite as usual. They found it is not habit-forming. It does not lead to other drugs. It doesn't do any of the things that they said they do, and so he didn't like that report. He tore it up, threw it in the garbage.
That was the Schaefer Commission report.
The Schaefer Commission report. And what he did...
And we refer to that in the preamble to the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act. There's a section, a finding by the people, which are the sovereign, the rulers in our form of government, that lists the findings of 3 state Supreme Courts and the Schaefer Commission, and a number of items that the Supreme Court of Alaska, Hawaii, and Michigan had in common with the Schaefer Commission report.
And by then you were decriminalizing in many states. Okay, that happened, but here's the tragedy. So actually the only federal law, you law enforcement, listen carefully, because you took an oath to uphold our Constitution too. That lie, which disrespects my 4th and 5th Amendment rights, that lie that's kept me from getting a job since the 80s, so now I live with a miserable income and you got to support me. That same lie has put over 20 million of us under arrest at one time or another. Now, how many of us are there here? How many people smoke marijuana in this country? What is the percentage of what you arrest? Is it 1%? Is it 10%? Is it 4%? Well, whatever you think it is, multiply that by 25 million and you might get a clue, a hint. Why are we forced to follow, this is the federal law they try to put on the states and everyone else, to follow the legacy of a man who left the presidency in disgrace for lack of honesty? This needs to end. That is one of the main reasons I'm asking everybody to vote for 80, to vote to help the people in Colorado, in Michigan, and send a clear message to the administration. This will not be tolerated any longer. We have not. That's why there are millions of us breaking your law every day. Has no respect for us. It doesn't deserve respect. Now change it. Please change it. Vote on 80. If you live in other states, help those ones in Colorado and Michigan. And definitely contact your legislators and your president and remind them that this man changed these laws all by himself with no help from the Congress or the Senate. It was just an order that he gave that we're living under this lie, and this lie has to end. 5 generations of lies and misinformation has rendered us a nation very, very incapable of making rational decisions, mostly because our system is not satisfied. The endocannabinoid system that opens our mind and expands our thinking and allows us to be real human beings.
You know, mentioning the endocannabinoid system, I just think that's just a perfect segue. We have this video from the University of Kansas at Wichita that talks about the endocannabinoid system. So,
what if cannabis
is that ready to roll? No, it's not. That's a different one. That's a movie,
yeah.
but it's a different video.
Okay.
So we'll have it up here in just a minute. But I just want to remind everyone out there that we have ballot measure 80 on the ballot. It will legalize and regulate the sale of marijuana to adults over the age of 21. It will allow our farmers to grow hemp for fuel, fiber, and food, and allow people to grow their own. So it will restore sanity to the marijuana laws. So we urge you to vote yes on ballot measure 80. You know, you need to get everyone you know to register and vote and make sure they turn their ballots in.
Well, and it's also important that the community of Oregon understand that this is an historic event laying on their doorstep. It's because of this you really need to exercise your vote, because you have a chance to end 100 years of a bad law.
Nice. Yes.
Indeed. So here we're going to run this video from the University of Kansas at Wichita. So stay tuned.
Obesity, particularly abdominal obesity and the associated cardiometabolic complications, are critical areas of investigation. The endocannabinoid system helps to regulate the central control of energy balance and peripheral metabolic processes, both of which may contribute to cardiometabolic risk factors. The endocannabinoid system, or ECS, influences multiple physiologic processes. This intricate system modulates energy intake, as well as nutrient transport, metabolism, and storage. The ECS regulates these processes through endogenous ligands, such as anandamide and 2-arachidonylglycerol, and the CB1 receptor. CB1 receptors are located in the brain, digestive tract, muscle, and adipose tissue. Integration of these central and peripheral ECS components is achieved through neuronal and hormonal signaling. Within the brain, CB1 receptors are among the most abundant G-protein coupled receptors. However, in contrast to classical signaling, where information travels from pre- to post-synaptic neurons, the ECS uses retrograde signaling. The information travels from post to presynaptic neuron. Let's take a closer look at this mechanism using a glutamatergic neuron model. When an action potential reaches the axon terminal, membrane depolarization triggers the release of glutamate. Glutamate binds to postsynaptic glutamate receptors, inducing calcium channels to open. During periods of intense neural activity, calcium accumulates in the postsynaptic neuron. This calcium buildup causes the synthesis and release of endocannabinoids from membrane lipids. Diffusing across the synaptic cleft, the endocannabinoids bind to the CB1 receptor, activating the G proteins. Activation influences ion flow. The result, suppression of presynaptic neurotransmitter release. Endocannabinoids are subsequently taken back into the cell and enzymatically degraded. In addition to acting as neural messengers, endocannabinoids mediate paracrine and autocrine signaling in adipocytes, hepatocytes, and other cells. Endocannabinoid system activity in the central nervous system regulates food intake. For example, ECS stimulation by hunger and fasting signals stimulates appetite and increases the palatability of food. Endocannabinoids slow gastric emptying and GI transit and appear to stimulate secretion of ghrelin, a neuropeptide that increases appetite and food intake. After eating, cholecystokinin in the duodenum triggers satiety signals. Subsequently, ECS activity is decreased through suppression of CB1 expression. An increase in the adiposity hormone leptin decreases endocannabinoid levels in the hypothalamus and decreases food intake. ECS regulation of peripheral metabolism influences energy balance. Stimulation of the ECS increases food intake and adiposity. Conversely, blocking CB1 receptors reduces food intake and adiposity. In the liver, ECS stimulation can lead to lipogenesis through the activation of hepatic lipogenic enzymes and increased fatty acid synthesis. Chronic stimulation of the ECS is associated with dyslipidemia. Activation of CB1 receptors increases expression of SREBP1C, a lipogenic transcription factor, and increases fatty acid synthesis. SREBP1C increases production of lipogenic enzymes, ACC1, and fatty acid synthase. Increased fatty acid synthesis can lead to production of large triglyceride-rich VLDL. Large triglyceride-rich VLDL sets the stage for the atherogenic lipid profile of small, dense LDL, decreased levels of atheroprotective HDL, and overall increases in cholesterol and triglyceride levels. Adiponectin, another hormone secreted by adipocytes, regulates lipid and glucose metabolism. Adiponectin is believed to regulate fatty acid oxidation in muscle and liver, thus improving insulin sensitivity. CB1 receptor stimulation in adipocytes reduces adiponectin, while CB1 blockade increases adiponectin synthesis. Metabolic dysregulation leads to a constellation of symptoms including abdominal obesity, atherogenic dyslipidemia, hypertension, insulin resistance, prothrombotic state, and pro-inflammatory state. As basic and clinical research progresses, we will continue to increase our understanding of the central and peripheral endocannabinoid system and its role in the regulation of metabolic function.
Okay, so that was from the University of Kansas at Wichita. Obviously a highly technical explanation of the working of the endocannabinoid system. So you just reminded me of that when you said that there, Elvie.
Cannabis, what if cannabis cures cancer? Is something somebody should go to their web and read, watch the video. It really gives a thorough explanation and it's more in layman's language.
Well, Elvie, I don't understand this. How can the United States federal government send to you and 3 other people in the United States as citizens of our country medical marijuana and then state on the White House website that marijuana has no medical value?
Remember,
Especially with information like that showing that it definitely has medical value.
Who's lying where?
And then they have the United States Department of Health has patented several cannabinoids. So the United States government has a patent on THC and CBD for its pain relief and for its anti-tumoral, antioxidant effects. So on one hand, the DEA says marijuana has no medical value whatsoever and it's a Schedule I drug that cannot be used. On the other hand, a different branch of the federal government, the Department of Human Services, has patented several compounds and holds more than 24 patents on cannabinoids based upon their medicinal capabilities. So,
but this is
go
coming
figure.
to a challenge.
Uh-huh.
Tuesday, it's going to be heard.
That's right. You are going to fly to Washington,
Washington, D.C.
on Sunday.
On Monday.
On Monday.
Because on Tuesday there will be hearings regarding the LIE, the Substance Control Act, which states that marijuana has no accepted value anywhere in the United States. For we know 17 states that say otherwise, and so does the capital. Also, it states that this law will be reviewed from time to time, and if anything changes, the law will change. Well, that hasn't occurred, so this is being challenged.
No, like you were referring to Judge Francis Young's ruling back in 1988, saying that it was the safest therapeutically active substance known to man. And the judge ordered the DEA to reschedule marijuana, and the administrator, John Lawn at the time, refused to do it, saying there was no evidence, even though there's tons of evidence.
No evidence?
Right.
That's what he said.
Our government wouldn't lie to us, so I don't know what to believe. Is the evidence that we're looking at wrong?
No, it's right.
Generations of lies and misinformation render us a nation with no mind, no decision.
We have a phone call. We're going to take the call. Welcome to our show, caller. Hello, caller. We think we're taking your call. Hello.
For us. And like I said, one thing I wanted to say is I ride the bus, and like I say, I always talk to people about the vote for yes on 80. So
thank you.
You know, it's kind of a nice captive audience. But well, anyway, another thing I wanted to comment on is that I live in federal housing. That would be nice if I could grow for myself, but I think that's a snowball's chance.
Yeah.
If Measure 80 passes, will they be able to grow?
We'll completely change the law. In fact, we designed Measure 80 to go through a federal court challenge and be upheld. And when that happens, that'll tear down the whole edifice of marijuana prohibition.
Well, again, thank you very much for all you're doing for us. And, hey, keep on keeping on. Thank you again.
Sure
Bye.
Do. Thank you. Thanks for your call. And you're very welcome. We have a couple little items here. One of them is a big bottle of Dr. Bronner's hemp and peppermint soap. This soap is made with hemp seed oil, and it's really good for you. I've been using it for years. And Dr. Bronner's magic soaps are available at health food stores. But the thing you should also know is that they donated $5,000 to our campaign for Measure 80. Yay. So we want to put out a big thank you to Dr. Bronner's Magic Soap and David Bronner and Adam Ettinger and the whole Dr. Bronner's crew.
It's nice to know that there's people out there that understand the importance of getting behind Measure 80 and are able to get behind it without being told to do so by a handful of posters.
There are these nifty hulled hemp seeds. What they've done is they've taken the outer crunchy hull off, leaving the inner hemp nut. They call it hemp hearts. And it talks about this has all the omega-3 and 6 and 9, the essential fatty acids that we need for optimal health, for the health of your brain and your cardiovascular system. And it's very, very tasty. We're going to taste a little bit here right now. Would you like to try some hemp seeds, Elvie?
Sure, I love that. I
love
keep
that
it at
too.
home. I've seen this mentioned in Dr. Oz's too.
Yeah, Dr. Oz says they say it's the healthiest protein on earth. It also has all 8 of the amino acids that we need in perfect balance for human health. So it's very tasty.
Dr. Roberta Hamilton, who had researched hemp seed oil, told to me back in 1993 that it was like rinsing all your cells in a mild solution of peroxide, and then it leaves a protective coat for your entire immune system, for all your cells. That's why I hardly ever get sick, even though I'm on those airplanes breathing nasty air half the time and doing other things I shouldn't. That would get you sick, possibly.
All right. So if you have a question or comment for us tonight, give us a call at 503-288-4442. That's 503-288-4442. If you'd like to get involved in our campaign, you can come to our office down at 2712 Northeast Sandy Boulevard. Or give us a call at our office. The office number is 503-235-4606. There it is on your screen again. 503-235-4606, or go to our website at vote80.org. We have another phone caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
Good evening. I just had a quick question.
Go right ahead.
I'm glad Measure 80 made it on the ballot, but I'm a little bit worried that there are too many people out there that actually don't even know that it's on the ballot. And I was wondering, are there going to be any commercials on TV?
You know, we have not been able to afford much of an advertising campaign. We won't be having TV commercials. We're relying on what's known as earned media for the media to cover it. But we have several arguments in the voters' pamphlet, and that just came out yesterday. So you can read it in the voters' pamphlet. And of course, it will be on the ballot. So if you vote, you can't help but see Measure 80 on there. So we have not been able to advertise. Conversely, our opponents have not really been able to advertise much. Now, there's been some signs around town that show a meth addict, and it says, marijuana, it's not good for you.
Yeah,
today,
there's one on Burnside. That's disgusting.
Today, Clear Channel said they'd have those signs down today. There's the sign right there. It's the new Reefer Madness. You know, back in 1936, they had the movie Reefer Madness. This is the new way. This organization called Protect Your Society, which doesn't have a phone number or anything. Clear Channel had put their ads up on a dozen different billboards around the area, and they took them down today because there's no way to reach these people, and they won't divulge who it is that's actually put this up on the internet. If you go to protectyoursociety.org, there's no phone number, no contact information. So
but I know who it is. You know those people we were going to have on a while back, and they wouldn't come on and debate us?
It's the Simblers, and Calvina Fay of Drug Free America. Right. And the Simblers had a group back in the 80s called Straight Inc., where they would lock up kids for drug treatment and torture them, and they were sued, and they had to go out of business. But today, they're running the Mitt Romney campaign in Florida. So the Simblers not only are
Betty Simbler, yes ma'am. Sir.
Yep, Betty Simbler, and they're in cahoots with this head of the Drug Free America Foundation, Calvina Fay.
You mean Truth Free America, don't you?
Well, that's what I do mean, but that's not what they call themselves, of course. It's propaganda of every form. So that's what we're here to do, is to tell people the truth about marijuana.
And so tell all your friends to vote 80. Tell them it's the only way you're going to stop being taxed to keep this up.
And there's a couple of things that you can do, too. We're doing a phone tree. You can pick up the phone and call your friends. Also have in-house parties, invite people over and get them active. And there are people out there who donate to other campaigns and who also drop more money in 1 month in tips than what we need for advertising dollars, who also enjoy medicating.
We would love to advertise, but we just don't have the money.
Please,
if you'd like to help
donate.
us, you can go to vote80.org or come by our office on weekday business hours, 2712 Northeast Sandy. Now, I'd also like to announce that on Monday, this upcoming Monday, the 15th, at the Oregon State Capitol, we're going to have a women's rally for Measure 80. So that's going to be at 1 o'clock on Monday, October 15th, this coming Monday, at the Oregon State Capitol, the women's rally for Measure 18. And it was the women's rally and a Facebook page that got those billboards taken down from all around Portland. We have a phone call again. Welcome to the show, caller.
Yeah, hi.
Howdy.
Have a question.
Okay. Turn your TV down.
Yeah, oh, shoot. I'm sorry. Hang on
That's
a second.
okay. What's your question?
The question is, I live near where our medical marijuana person got hit the other night, and all of our stashes were stolen. Our legitimate medicine that we needed. And I was wondering if the panel had heard anything about that, and if they'd like to comment on it. I'll just take it off the air.
Well, I'm sorry. Thanks for your call. I have not heard specifics about that. I've heard of a lot of different robberies, but all we can do, if we legalize it, that will just remove the artificially inflated price, and we'll be able to go to a store and buy it at a much reduced price. In fact, under Measure 80, Medical marijuana will be widely available for patients in stores and pharmacies, and it will not be taxed, where sales to adults that don't have a medical marijuana recommendation or a prescription, then those will be taxed. So marijuana for adult social use will be more expensive than medical marijuana. I anticipate the price of medical marijuana will become very, very inexpensive, maybe on the order of, it's hard to say, but as a guess right now, $20 to $30 an ounce.
Wow. Maybe
even cheaper. I know it grows in big fields, and the outdoor costs of production of marijuana are very inexpensive. So the price will come down when we remove the artificial barriers imposed by prohibition. We have another call. Welcome to the show, caller.
Hey, I got 3 quick points I want to make.
Please.
And I reverb back through my... Anyway, why is Washington and Colorado getting so much support from the outside we're getting? Could it be because we are trying to legalize industrial hemp and the other 2 measures, and that is a pain in the neck, the pharmaceutical, petroleum, and the timber industry?
Let me explain that. Let me explain. Washington's initiative is headed by an attorney from the ACLU, and Peter Lewis of Progressive Insurance, who's the largest funder of medical marijuana and marijuana legalization initiatives, has hired an ACLU attorney to oversee all of his giving. So in Washington, they drafted, polled, revised, and then filed a petition, and then the ACLU attorneys and Peter Lewis paid to put it on the ballot and have paid for the entire campaign. So it's their baby. When you go to Colorado, the Colorado initiative has been primarily funded by the Marijuana Policy Project. And so it hasn't received as much funding as Washington. They've received over $4.5 million in Washington for their campaign. And in Colorado, they've received a little bit over $1 million. Our initiative has received about $500,000 altogether, almost all of that provided by the patients who come through THCF medical clinics. So the patients' fees, some of that has been used to finance the initiative, but we don't have more money right now. So I just want to say, though, thank you to all the patients who've come to THCF medical clinics, because you're the ones really who enabled ballot measure 80 to be put on the ballot. And, you know, we see polls showing that it's going to be very tight, but we believe, especially if we get a big turnout in younger voters, that this thing's going to win. And it was the most transformative of all the initiatives. The folks in Washington will tell you that theirs is a very incremental approach. Ours is not incremental, it's much broader, and will put Oregon on the cutting edge of exciting new economic developments for industrial hemp, medical marijuana, and adult social marijuana, and make Oregon the epicenter of this new nascent industry. We have another caller. Welcome to the show, caller.
I turned it up.
Howdy. You got cut off there or something.
Hello?
Hello, there you are. Do you have a question? I guess not.
Well, I do remind people to make certain that you do get registered to vote, and if you are out of state or you have people who are out of state, to make certain that they are registered and they do vote from out of state and send those absentee ballots in.
We have another quick film clip we're going to roll, and we'll be back in just a moment. Mr. Willie Nelson.
Hi, I'm Willie Nelson, and I urge you to support the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act to regulate marijuana and restore industrial hemp. This initiative will end adult marijuana prohibition and let our criminal justice officers focus limited resources on real criminals and not on marijuana users like me. OCTA will also allow farmers to grow hemp for fuel, fiber, and food, to create jobs and help our economy. Please support OCTA. Thank you.
So remember, the most important thing you can do to help us right now is get everyone you know to register to vote. We need a big turnout and let people know that this thing's on the ballot. It's going to take, because we don't have the money for a big advertising campaign, we need your help to get the word out. And so go out there to vote80.org. find more information. If you need to register to vote or check your voter registration here in the state of Oregon, go to OregonVotes.org. If you haven't voted in the past 2 years, or you haven't received a ballot, or if you've moved since you last voted here in the state of Oregon, you need to go to OregonVotes.org, check your registration, and you can register right online at Oregon Votes. Now, here in Oregon, all of our ballots are mailed, so you don't have to go through the rain, sleet, and snow to a polling place and stand in line and get in a little cubicle, and while other people are waiting, try to figure out how to vote. They will mail you the ballot. They mail you the voter pamphlet. The voter pamphlets just went out yesterday. Then the ballots are going to go out a week from today on October 19th. Today's October 12th. A week from today, the ballots will be mailed. You have to register to vote by Tuesday, the 16th. So go to OregonVotes.org and make it happen. Elvie, you know, we're down to just about 6 minutes left here, and of course, Spiral will be back to play a great song here. You want to tell our viewers why you think they should vote yes on ballot measure 80?
Well, obviously, because we need freedom again. We need to restore our Constitution. We need to restore our private rights. And we definitely need to send a strong message to the White House and to the government in general of all states that we have had it with the 5 generations of lies, that we want to change and we want it now. So you have that power. Tell your friends to get out there and vote for 80 if you're in Oregon. The other initiatives if you're in Washington or Colorado. Just make this war end. It is a war on people. I wrote a song called The War on Us because that's what it is.
You know, if we pass Measure 80 in Oregon, I-502 in Washington, and Amendment 64 in Colorado, I believe it'll be akin to the falling of the Berlin Wall for the end of the Cold War, and the toppling of Lenin's statue in Red Square for the end of the Soviet Union. We can restore freedom and sanity and expand individual rights. Would you like to tell our viewers why you think people should vote yes?
And on top of that, we're going to be able to make a cash crop for our farmers and take the wealth out of the hands of the oil barons and the Wall Streeters and put it into the hands of everyday people, make it possible for everybody who is in the farm community to be able to make their mortgage payments. We're going to be able to create jobs in not only in Oregon, but in America. And we're going to be able to compete on the open market with products that are made from this plant that are more durable and more sustainable than what are being produced now. So we get better products, we do better for the earth, we create more jobs, we create a stronger economy, and we take the money out of Wall Street and put it into the hands of our farmers and create community jobs. Sounds like a win-win, win-win, win-win situation.
That's the antidote to the marijuana prohibition.
Amen. You want to give a plug for your weekly radio show?
Absolutely. AmericanFreedomRadio.com every Monday through Friday, 10 to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard, which is also 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. Tune in and listen to Time for Hemp. You can also go to timeforhemp.com and check out all of our archives. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Elvie.
Thank you, Elvie, for coming on our show again. It's been a real pleasure. We got to have you back more often. We're going to be voting on this thing, so I just want to say one last time, go to that website, give that phone number a call. If you can afford it, donate. If you can't afford it, register, vote. Make sure all your friends know to vote yes on Measure 80.
Phone trees are great. One call, get you 10 more. Each one of this, get 10 more. You can get the word out. There's plenty of time to do it. Do it.
And we're setting up an online phone banks where you'll be able to go up and call voters. There'll be scripts online. So go to our website and get involved. Sign up as a volunteer. And from your home, you'll be able to call Oregon registered voters wherever you are in the world. You'll be able to call them and urge them to vote yes on Measure 80. We're going to go out with another great song from our friends at Spiral. Want to thank you for watching. Tune in next week. Let's change the world, pass Measure 80, and help us restore hemp.
Hemp, hemp, hooray.
All right.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Don't bogart that joint, my friend. Pass it over to me. Don't bogart that joint, my friend. Pass it over to me. Rolling a another one, just like the other one. You've been hanging on to it, and I sure would like a hit. Don't bogart that joint, my friend. Come on, join in and sing along. Pass it over to me. Don't bogart that joint, my friend. Pass it over to me. Here's a guitar solo. Bogart that joint, my friend. Pass it over to me. Bogart that joint, my friend. Pass it over to me. Roll another one. Didn't wait. Just like the other one. They're in a hurry to go smoking. You've been hanging on to it, and I sure would like a hit. Don't bogart that joint, my friend. Pass it over to me. Here we go. Don't bogart that joint, my friend. Pass it over to me. Vote yes on measure 80, please.
Vote yes on 80.
We all
Everybody
need to
vote
end
yes
the
on
lies.
80. We like to have fun. We do like to have fun. Register in Vogue. You have to the 16th.
If you're not registered,
to the 16th
make sure that you
this
are.
month. So
You've
just
only
a
got a
few
short
days.
time. I just
Peace
did.
and love.
I was inactive.
All right.